Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
Go ahead and call the meeting of the Westminster Commerce and Economic and Community Development to order at 6:11 on Monday, January the 24th. First order of business, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No.
Seeing none, I will move on to communications and public comments. Does anybody have any communications or public comments? If so, raise your hand.
I just am curious, is there anybody else in the room besides the three of you at the table?
Sorry, just us three. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna do a roll call.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just curious. Nope,
Yep.
it's fine.
So before we move on, I will do the roll call. I put it as a note on here. Thank you. I think that was Cynthia.
Can I just?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Can you guys hear them all right? Them speaking at the table?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we can.
Great, thank you. So, roll call, obviously, John Jones present, Chris Hackett, present. Present? Yep. Potter, present, Chris, present. Cassandra?
No.
She's not.
I don't see. Do you want us to tell you who's on Zoom? Not Cassandra.
I don't see a Cassandra on here.
You don't see a Cassandra? Okay, please tell me who's on Zoom.
Bobby Kilburn, Cynthia Stoddard,
Okay,
Barry Shamus,
yep,
and Sarah Lang.
and Sarah Lang. Okay, so, okay, we're only missing one who was gonna attend, and I'll check that out. Okay. First off, welcome and thank you to everybody who's attending. We don't have anything for unfinished business because we haven't conducted any business. So we'll move on to new business discussion. No action will be taken tonight. What we'll do is we'll go through these items. We'll get a structure together. I will then take the structure back to the select board this week and present how we would like to move forward and go from there. So under 5A, I'm going to go ahead and do welcomes and introductions. I'll start myself. My name is John Jones. I'm a Westminster resident. I serve on about 9 committees throughout the county and the town, and have decided to establish this committee based upon recommendation and some feedback from the select board over the last 4 months. So that's who I am.
Chris Potter, I'm on the DRB for the town of Westminster. And I also live in Westminster.
Chris Hackett, I live in Westminster. Previously I was on the fire department board. Currently I'm on the board of Kern Hatton Homes and on the board of the Bellows Falls Area Development Corp.
So Cynthia?
I'm Cynthia Stoddard. I'm a Westminster resident. I am on the ARPA committee right now. Just been involved in local government for years. So interested where this committee is going to go.
Great, thank you. Next is, I'm trying to see from here. Who do we have next? Bobby? I know Bobby's in there.
Yep, I'm here. Bobby Kilburn, resident of the town. I'm also on the ARPA committee and also work at Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation. Sarah's here with me this evening as well. And just looking forward to seeing where this is going and how we can be helpful.
Great, thank you. Barry, is she Planning Commission Chair? I think she's in there as well.
Yep, Barry Shamus, resident of Westminster, 40 years, and I am the chair of the Planning Commission just since last September.
Great, thank you and welcome. And then I believe we have Sarah.
I'm here. Sarah Lang, I'm live in Brattleboro, but work with the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation and have been working with John the past couple of months to give any support he needs to help create this committee. So I'm glad to see it's official.
Great, thank you very much, Sarah. And again, thank you everybody for attending and welcome. The next item is discussion of draft mission statement. I sent that out to everyone. It was the draft that I presented to the select board as kind of a one-page APA to highlight and do the kickoff. And the first page, I don't know if everybody has it in front of them, the electronic or printed copy, kind of gives an overview of where we're going to start. And then there's a guide that was submitted to the select board. Thank you to Sarah for doing that. And I've included that as a link, 140-page document. I've highlighted some starting points, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other opportunities with the strategic partners that we have in attendance and those that will hopefully come online after. One of the things that has come back is the structure, and that's one thing we'll talk about. The structure of this, per the select board, was to have the feel of a official board that'll have a chair, vice chair, and a clerk. There are 3 positions that are earmarked for chairs of other boards in our community. One of them is the DRB chair, the other is the Planning Commission chair. And my thought was hopefully to see if the ARP chair would want to occupy the other position, only because longevity of money, and I think there's a lot of overlap right now with all the programs coming from the federal government and state. So that is my thought there. That was presented to the select board, and then the remaining will be filled by stakeholders in the community. So that's a quick overview, and if anyone has any questions of the draft, you're welcome to ask me.
I haven't seen it. I don't know that it came to me.
Did it not come in the email? Is this the?
This is Barry. I got an agenda in an email, but I don't recall seeing a mission statement. Is it possible?
Barry, on January 19th, John sent an email that had 3 attachments. One was the agenda, one was a draft statement, and one is the PDF guide.
It's actually titled Draft ACCD.
Correct, yes, thank you.
Sorry. John, I did have a comment.
Yep.
In the draft document, if I'm reading this correctly, it sounds like the way you wrote it, the state of Vermont put together that 142-page guide, but it's actually, they didn't have anything to do with it. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. It was the Vermont Council on Rural Development that put that together.
Correct, yeah, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I kind of lumped them in there together in a partnership with them.
Lots of acronyms and whatnot, but to be clear.
Yep, nope, thank you for that.
John, if I can ask you, you presented this to the board.
Yeah, so how this,
Any comment back?
they accepted this with minimal feedback. They just wanted us to, at this meeting, establish that we had a board, and we're not going to identify people in roles. I will structure in a way where we'll say, this person's interested in the board to fill the 7, and your position, your interest, and I'll take it back to them for their approval. They're going to approve. So how it's going to work is we'll work on stuff, we'll get it set up, and we'll send it across the street after we approve it as a board to the select board to be approved. So there's collaboration with them on any projects or anything we come up with moving forward. But as far as the structure for tonight, we're going to set the structure tentatively and bring it back across the street to them on Wednesday. And then at our next meeting, we'll discuss that, which is on the agenda.
This is Barry again. I'm still not clear. Is the draft ACCD, what you're talking about, is the mission statement? Because I'm not seeing anything that's titled mission statement.
It should be a 3-page document there. It's just the Agency of Commerce and Community Development for Westminster. How it started was it was an email asking if the town had one, and so it kind of evolved from there. And the acronym that I came up with was something I did, like I explained to the select board, was on the day of the meeting at like 1 a.m. So we had to kind of come up with an acronym. So that's just a 3-pager. So if you don't have it, I'm happy to get it to you.
No, I think she has, John, I think she has what we're all looking at.
Okay.
I think, because that's what I'm looking at, Barry, is that.
What that says draft ACCD docs?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what he's referencing.
Yeah, I'm not clear. This looks to me like the way the committee is going to be structured. But I'm not sure I'm seeing a mission.
No, if we haven't established that this is a draft copy of guide.
Okay.
If you, in the back on page 2, the new WCECD will establish a purpose and objective statement that will be revised annually. The new committee will be reviewed by the select board every 3 years. So we haven't really established that. That's something we're going to. This is just for you folks to see how it was presented to the select board after many meetings that I attended on it. And once we're established, we'll start diving into this as a board.
So maybe just to say it differently, because I'm a little slow. My brain's full today. So we need to establish a purpose and objective statement or a mission of the committee to be able to be presented back to the select board that will be reviewed every 3 years. Is that correct?
The purpose and objective will be reviewed every year, but the board itself, this board will be reviewed by the select board every 3 years to see if they're going to keep it or abolish it.
Okay. So I think, Barry, we don't have a mission statement at the moment.
No, I didn't go, that was one of the conversations that they had asked, and I said, really a lot of the other boards have their mission statements, and I felt that the committee should have say on that, and it was something I didn't want to go alone without having collaboration. And that's one of the things we do in some of the other boards is the committee boards come together, we do it, then we present it. So I wanted to get all you folks on board first.
I think there was just confusion, John, because you said it was a mission statement.
Okay, I apologize.
I think it's just a terminology thing. It's not,
okay.
Yeah. So this is presenting to the board what we're talking about building for a committee and what we're going to not necessarily do, but how we're going to get it all established.
This was my mission statement to the board of how we're setting this up. And
okay, gotcha.
So thank you. Yes. Any further comments, discussion on the draft?
John, did I hear you say that there's other examples of the purpose and objective statements from other municipalities that have set these up? Is that true?
A lot of towns have mission statements that they do. And yet, to answer your question directly, there are, and I can pull some together if we want to use those as guidance for drafting.
It would be interesting to see what those look like.
Okay, forgive me, I can't see.
Sorry, it's Bobby Kilburn.
Bobby, thank you, yes, okay.
Would it help you if I can try and move the computer to the table?
Oh, that would be great if we could, yeah, then that would be awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's really sensitive, so it might take me a second.
Hey, Bobby, I did, in some of the work that I did in conjunction with John, I did pull together a couple bullet points of other towns that have ED committees with links, if there were links to associate with them. So.
Okay.
Correct, yeah, and forgive me, a lot of the information has been populated in town meetings from October through today. And I'm happy to go dig them up, they're right on the website, but if anybody wants anything, I'm happy to populate it and send it off.
Was that you, Sarah, was that you about the towns? You have information on other mission statements?
Yeah, I just put something in the chat, but I can send the actual document that just gave some examples of towns that have an ED committee or something like an ED committee. And there's some links in there. So I put it in the chat, but I can also share the actual document. That has it.
Were they towns similar to Westminster? Population?
Not sure. The towns are Milton, Swanton, Fairhaven, Ensborough, Dover. Those were the few that I had.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion under 5B? Not seeing any, we can move on to 5C. Establishing the board officers. So to circle back to what we were talking about. This board is set up to be comprised of a seven-member board. I did have commitments from 7. We are missing Cassandra this evening, and I'll reach back out to see if something changed from last Friday. Maybe something came up. So we're going to have a chair, a vice chair, and a clerk, as I said. And so I'd like to get everyone's thought on who. So first off, everybody's interested in being on this committee. You wouldn't be here, correct?
I was just coming to sort of out of curiosity. I wasn't necessarily committing to a long-term participation here. So I can't say that I'm committed to being here at this point.
So when it was set up, the select board, one of the provisions was to have the chair of the planning commission on it. So do you maybe, if you don't, do you have an alternate on the planning commission that would like to fill that seat? The challenging part is if it's not the chair, when they come over, it's hard to conduct business across boards. So I'd like to have the chair because then you can go back to the board and speak as the representative. So, I just wanted to, go ahead, Cynthia, I saw a hand.
Yeah, one of the things I think I remember from that meeting was that there was a deep concern, maybe not deep, maybe that's a little too heavy, but a concern that we were duplicating efforts of the Planning Commission. Is that true, John? Did I hear them say that?
That is, and like I explained to them, the Planning Commission, the DRB, they have kind of their own lanes. DRB is a little more different because they're really their own thing. And like I explained to them, this is totally, economic development is totally separate, but yet the collaboration from those board chairs is valued for us to look at projects and programs, so.
Well, how about you tell me what you're expecting, how often we're going to meet, and what I understand. I mean, I feel like I'm being wrangled into something that I didn't necessarily sign up for because somebody decided that there was going to be another committee just because I'm the chair. So if you could explain to me what you're thinking, that would be helpful.
So the thought after a lot of collaboration was, again, to the value to have the Planning Commission, because the Planning Commission does the town plan, among other things. And we present that through sometimes Wyndham Regional up to the state. And that plan hinges on a lot of things we do in our community, on a lot of programs we leverage. The thought was to have the chair of these committees be on this committee so that they can advise or provide guidance to us as what's going on in their boards and commissions. So that when we look at projects, we don't just say, hey, for an example of, we don't just grab $100,000 and start doing development downtown Westminster. We now have the folks that are on these other committees saying, well, this is what we're working on and we can't do that. And I believe you folks got like a grant opportunity to help with zoning Or you're going for it, is that correct, ma'am?
No, we did try for a municipal planning grant.
Yeah.
We did not apply for the zoning grant because it didn't make sense. There were aspects of it that it was about the village and we weren't really doing much with the village. The only towns in Wyndham County that got the municipal planning grants were Brattleboro and Bellows Falls. And they sort of took up all the money for the region.
Okay. So to answer your question, the value to have the board member from the planning commission, the chair on this, is what was discussed with the select board. And so in collaboration, we all came to that agreement. So.
Okay, I understand why you'd want me here, but when I'm here, what will we be doing? What as expected besides collaborating?
We're going to identify projects. We're going to identify development opportunities. We're going to identify through our strategic stakeholders like BDCC, maybe Wyndham Regional and others.
Okay.
Where we can maximize our effort, and then we're going to identify grant opportunities. And so,
how often are we going to meet? How often is this? I'm talking specifics here.
So tentatively, this board will meet because there's a lot in this lane that can crop up. So tentatively, once a month, and my thought was meeting in between with the select board's first meeting every month and their third, so that when we come together, we have a chance to bring it back to the board or the select board for their final review. So.
Do you, Sarah, John, if I can talk to Sarah, do you know how often other committees like this meet, like what their schedule is?
I don't know off the top of my head, but my understanding is that if it is a sanctioned committee, you know, by the town like this one is, it's similar to, you know, a planning commission or, you know, other sort of sanctioned committees. So, you know, once a month. I don't think, you know, I don't know if that's required because it's been sanctioned by the select board.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be something to double check, but I would imagine you can set it sort of as much or as little as you would need.
John, were you gonna, or Sarah, you provide us the 140-page document, I forget the title. Are we gonna be going by, John, I'm gonna turn to page 82 is what I've been concentrating on, is building a town economic development committee, or is that the kind of guidelines we are gonna be?
Yes, so we're gonna use that and build on it as a base. And like I said, I told the select board, they got a hard copy of this, which is great, but that is what we're gonna build off from. Again, it was just a question that came down through. And so to get back to the planning commission chair's thoughts and concerns, we just earmarked the position. Like the DRB, it's the chair. So if that changes, it'll be the new chair. So that's what we did in collaboration with the select board. That's how we structured it. I mean, if you feel that the planning commission does not want to participate, which I hope you folks do, or the commitment, I can definitely bring that back to them.
Are you asking me?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to get your feedback. I'm sorry. Yes, I want to know.
I think that there's a worthy connection. Absolutely. We have to get the town plan basically finished by the end of this year. And we're meeting already regularly twice a month, you know, once our regular meeting and once to specifically work on different chapters. So a third meeting a month is, you know, increasing my commitment to almost every week, but not quite. And so that's just what I'm That's what I'm thinking. And we were actually going to have a meeting on the planning commission tonight on one of the chapters that was scheduled before, but that got postponed till next week. That allowed me to be at this meeting the whole time. So I'm worried about conflicts about that.
Conflicts of time.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm sure if the rest of the folks in attendance, I'm sure once we can work that out, we can work out a schedule of meetings. I think that's something we'll put together after we get through this meeting. And I take and go to the select board to present them with a list of people for the committee by the identified positions. And so we can talk about that. I mean, there's more people that like Sarah and Bobby and Cynthia and Chris, they're kind of in this space every day. And so they may say we can do every other month if that works for us to move things forward. So, I'm definitely open to considerations and not afraid to take it back to the select board.
John, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am, Cynthia, yep.
I'm just wondering if it has to be limited to the chairs. Could we ask if, you know, I mean, my whole feeling on the planning commission, and there's a huge value to having someone from the planning commission there because you guys put so much time and effort into that plan that it seems almost irresponsible if we don't have somebody on this, because we're trying to, as this committee, the way I see it, this committee is actually trying to make your plan come to life. So you do all this work on this plan, and if we don't act on it, it's kind of just you guys are putting stuff on paper, and I always hate when people spend hours of their life trying to create something that never has anything come of it, because what are we doing it for? So, but I also understand that I'm not sure we should limit it just to the chair, because you have a lot to do on that in that space as well. So maybe it should just be a member of the planning commission, a member of the DRB. Maybe it doesn't have to be so specific to the chair.
I'm happy to take that back across to the select board.
I mean, I don't want to take it away from you.
no, yeah, I mean, we also have a very small select board, but I mean, a select planning commission.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy to ask if there's somebody else who wants to do it. There maybe
I
we
would
have.
do the same with Chris.
Yeah, I think Cynthia, I agree with that. I think that, ultimately it's about
Makes sense.
making sure information is being, shared between the two groups, and that
Yeah.
just having a seat reserved for someone on the planning commission. And it also doesn't have to be, or, in the way I'm imagining it, it doesn't have to be the same person every month. It's more, if you're meeting every month, it's more about just making sure there's cross-pollination, and that whoever from the planning commission attends can bring what they hear back to the planning commission. So that way it's maybe splits the time up between members on the planning commission, if that's the way to go.
Yes, and to kind of echo what Sarah and Cynthia said, if a committee votes to say, we're going to have John Jones go represent us at this next meeting, you're going to attend the meeting, you can do that. We can earmark for the chair, but the chair of any board can delegate to other board members tasks, and you can also say, we're giving you permission to go to the next meeting. So we can structure it so there's a seat for the planning commission and a seat for the DRB. And I guess I'll structure to the select board that you folks will then decide who will attend those meetings. Is that something that would work for you on the planning commission?
Well, you're asking me to speak for everybody on the planning commission, and I'm not really able to do that. And you're also asking me to make a commitment, and as much as I can appreciate the intention, I'm not really convinced, but of the value of it. I mean, I believe there's value in it. I'm just not convinced about it. I'm sorry to be sort of on that, but that's just my reality right now when I'm speaking.
Is there any,
I don't, yeah.
sorry, I just didn't know if there's anybody else that wanted to speak on the topic while we're discussing it here.
I think, John, what you have to do is you have to structure this like you just said, that a seat at the table for the planning commission, a seat at the table for the DRB. We can let them know when the meetings are. I mean, we can't force anybody to attend. You know, like I said, the purpose for me is to make that plan come to life. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time creating a plan. Why bother doing it? If there's some
There is another reason. It's a great informational document.
Right, that has a lot of planning part of it, and then that's the part we're trying to fill a gap in that part. So, but you can't force people to come. So, but don't limit it to the one person, one position on the and just structure it that way, and they can see. I mean, they don't have to make every meeting. They might come to every third one and say, hey, this is what we've been doing. And this is what we've been doing. And then we can have that conversation. I mean, we're going to be in that position. We're all busy. We're not going to be able to make every meeting.
Right. And
Is there an,
sorry,
John, this is Bobby.
Bobby, go ahead.
You know, is there a way to just structure it? So just like Cynthia and you both said, just say, you know, send somebody if you can. Is there a way to share information back to the planning commission and to the DRB? So Barry, you have a standing planning commission meeting once a month, then you have another that you're working on the town plan. Is there a way that if someone doesn't come, that from this committee can go to the planning commission and say, hey, you weren't there, here's an update of what's going on. So it goes both ways here. Because, you know, it's the 80-20 rule, right? You know, I mean, you know, you're going to get the same people attending a lot of these same meetings. So if we can figure out a way to share the information cross lines, it's not so hard fast.
Okay. Yeah. No, we can do that. I just want to pivot real quick because I do want to get the chair of the DRB who's here with us in attendance. I wanted to get your thoughts on this as well, just to see if you have the same view as far as your board, not, you know, the commitment owner. So I just, how would you?
I certainly can make time to do this. I just want to, I kind of researched a lot of it after speaking with you on the phone.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure, one of the things you said, I think someone on the Zoom had mentioned, we don't really want to duplicate things. You know, we can't really change. I mean, the town plan is going to be the town plan. So we definitely have to work with that to keep everything, you know, in line. I also want to take, personally, I have children that live here and I would like them to stay. So I want to have a realistic plan as to moving forward, which may not be popular with a good share of what I've read. I read up on a lot of the different towns and the different things they've done. And I just don't see myself being 100% for a lot of the things that I saw that happened. Bellows Falls is a good example. I grew up there, lived there for 25 years, and there are quite a few projects there. And I don't know if this is the same exact group, but it's the group that you sent us, the Vermont Rural Organization there. They've done, as far as I could tell, a lot of the projects that they've done in town spent a lot of money, had good intentions, but really didn't amount to anything. This is just my personal opinion. So I just want to know that, you know, and obviously I don't have to get my way or get my way, but I just want to have a realistic, like, if we're going to shoot for something, it needs to provide people with a good paying job. you know, something that can sustain a life in Vermont. I don't think, you know, putting people onto a ski lift, you know, running the little buttons, that doesn't really give you a life. It doesn't provide you with enough income to survive. And that's just one example. As much as I love to ski, I just think we need, if we're gonna do it, I think we need to be seriously thinking about having things that create a town where the people of the town can live here, make enough money to survive, and we're not just kind of having like a weekend festival or the thing that really bothers me is I drive down to the little area that Bells Falls, all cleaned up and got all kinds of grant money for this pond that nobody really knows is there. And they did it all and fixed it all up, and I go down there every once in a while just to relax for a few minutes, and it's all overgrown. Everything they fixed is all fallen into the pond. So I just want, I will definitely be on the board and want to be on the board as long as that's the direction we're headed in. If we're just gonna, you know, get a bunch of grant money, you know, to beautify a corner, the corner's not gonna bring any jobs to the town. It's not gonna make it so my kids, grandkids, you know, other relatives can stay here or want to stay here, you know. So I'm just hoping that as we get deeper into this, that the discussion is more realistic, or that is realistic at all. You know what I mean? We're not. I don't know. I hate to say this, but I don't want to just put a lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean? I really want to have something that actually amounts to something, and I will wholeheartedly, you know, be involved and push if we're going to do some realistic, helpful things.
Yep, and that's, thank you for your feedback on that. And you, again, that's why these positions were earmarked to be part of this, because there is value to have your input back to push that, because you're gonna come and say, this is where we are, this is what we're seeing at the DRB. In this committee, we can say, to Cynthia's point, we can say, okay, that's your plan. Now we're gonna drive that mission forward. And we have a lot of strategic partners in Windham County that can help us do that. So I'm glad to hear you say that, because for me, I took this on and I've been working hard on this, and it's about our community and our growth and our future as a whole community and our partnerships within our county and state that we, you know, a lot of this stuff, if we start reading, and that there was an example, just so we could kind of get some conversation.
Sure.
And that's the beauty part about our purposes and objectives. We can identify these things as a committee, what we feel is value to our community, and then leverage the folks that can help us move that to the, you know, end zone. So I'm with you, and thank you, because your position is valued on this committee. And that's why I brought it to the select board and they agreed. So I'm happy. I am happy to take this back across the street and structure it a little different to allow flexibility. I'll say that we you know, just though we met, we're gonna have participation from these committees. It could be the chair, vice chair, or a member, and tell them that's what we would like to see. And then would that work for everybody?
Yes.
Yes,
I
thank you.
think
Sorry. 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 Bobby, yes?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you,
You
ma'am.
said yes.
And then, oh, sorry. Does that work for the planning commission as well, ma'am?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, and we value, my personal thing, I value the input from all of our boards on this mission. Like I said earlier, I'm on the Windham Regional, I'm on 5 different boards, and I just get to look at all the plans and look at where we're going and go, wait a minute. Like I told the select board, this is a great opportunity for us to have a seat at the round table as this economic bus is moving forward. And our look and feel here is going to change because industry's changing, more remote, more tech savvy, and we're a little behind. And even our ag infrastructure, like I told you. So again, we can move this forward. So is there any other discussion under establishing board officers, please?
Well, I just want to also, when you talk to the town, that I think we should, when we're talking to what Chris said, to bringing in the planning commission and DRB, everybody's got to collaborate, but also we got to start thinking regionally and
Yep.
not just Westminster.
Yep.
If we just talk
Like a
Westminster,
bobblehead.
we're not going to work.
Right.
And that's me talking.
No, and I concur, and I did say that to the board, and I believe it was one of the December meetings when I was talking about this. I said I said, we have to be mindful of not only Westminster, but what's happening in Bells Falls, what's
Exactly,
happening in Putney, Brattleboro. We have to be mindful. We're all integrated into the infrastructure of our
Thank you.
county, state, and country as a whole. So anyways, I did see a hand, Cynthia, and then
Yeah.
Sarah.
I think that Chris and the two Chris's, no, I think I just wrote our mission statement
I concur with that. I think
What's that?
I think-
because I don't want,
Draft, mission statement.
both of those things that you guys just said are the reason that I want to be on this.
Yeah.
Is I work regionally and I want it to be meaningful so that we can bring some people back to this area to fill the jobs, create some housing, maybe somehow collaborate that way. And I think that otherwise, Chris Potter, I'm with you. There's no sense in, I mean, there's money for little pretty parks and stuff. And we don't need to, that's not what's going to bring our kids back here.
I'd like to get the community to work on the parks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Have Cynthia Stoddard, let's say, says, I want to fix up the corner, and
Right.
Chris Hackett, Chris Potter, John Jones, we all meet you there with a shovel and a rake, and you know what I mean? Those are the type of things I think that should be community involvement. I think I would like to see this be much more serious. And in all reality, Bellows Falls has Sonex and they have a lot of great stuff. And I shouldn't say this, I mean, I want to focus on exactly what I said, I guess. I said it the first time the way I meant it. I want to focus on the future of our children in the state of Vermont. And some of the things, it just seems like there's going to be some buildings that people don't like the look of maybe, but produce 500 jobs. We have to have I like on the DRB, we have a diverse group on the DRB, and we discuss everything and we come to usually a pretty good solution. And I'm for working with everybody, but I just wanted to get it out there day one that my mission would be to focus on, we have a beautiful place that we live. We've got the rivers and all the beautiful stuff is here.
Mm-hmm.
Now what we need is a way to keep young people
And attract.
Yes, and have, if other folks want to move here, they have to be able to get a job. I mean, the utopia would be that we could live in this beautiful place and the money just flows into your bank account, but that's not how it works. I'm sort of a realist in the fact that we really have to provide them with a way to make a living. And I'll stop at that.
Nope, I concur, and that is the strong push I made when I started really diving into this. We have to, as a community as a whole, make these commitments to move us forward. And I agree, we don't want to have 10 meetings and then what are we doing?
Right.
And that's one of the things that the select board did, in fairness, bring up. They had commented on the boards and how things are, the participation, and I said, we'll make sure we have participation, and I think we do. And as the wheels get on the bus and it gets going, I think we'll have a lot of people that will hopefully come in and say, hey, wait, here you guys are doing this. I had 2 people stop me out here. Hey, what is this all about? So I explained to them, and they're like, oh, okay. So it's just getting the word out there, and we'll do that. So I feel everybody's opinion on this is strong and valid, and it's something that
There's one other group that I think we should include too, is
FD.
whomever, somebody from the board, a representative. It doesn't have to be the same person, but our select board should have a seat, or at least they should be on our emails or offered the ability to come, sit, listen.
Yeah, so To be honest, I thought somebody would be here because we went around, they knew, and so when I put it out there, it's an open invitation, like I said, to them to be here. Anybody can, attend, so, yeah, so I concur with that. The other thing that I didn't know, and maybe I can have this, is the fire department has they're their own legislative body in town. And so we'll have to see if they have time to participate. I know a lot of sometimes this is time for people, and I was able to talk to people, and there wasn't a strong interest to be part of it. So I didn't want to, again, like Cynthia, we don't want to push anybody into anything. But we want to forecast the opportunity, and I think everybody supports that. So,
Yeah, John, this is Bobby.
hi, Bobby.
What might be helpful is for us to actually prepare a charter, mission statement, whatever you want to call it, based on what the Chris has said, and I think we all are in agreement on, and then offer that up to all of these committees, select board, planning, fire department, so on and so forth, inviting them to the next so that they have an understanding of where this committee is going and what the objectives are. Because I think there might be some confusion as to what the purpose is potentially. Just a thought. And then, for the next meeting, open that dialogue a little bit more so that that invitation is put out there specifically to come to the next meeting.
Correct. So what I can do, Bobby, when I go to report, I'm on the agenda Wednesday to report back to the select board. So what I can do is address the DRB and Planning Commission as being a committee member versus a chair, and then let them know that at our next meeting, we will formalize the structure of having a chair, vice chair, and clerk as they've asked. We'll take an official vote. I'll just let them know, everybody that's interested now. And then, do we want to invite them to that one, or would we like to come together formally, give us a couple of meetings to work on this whole statement thing? Because it'll be like a week turnaround. I'm just trying to see everybody's timeline here. I know I'm extremely busy with other boards this week as we do close out for the month, so.
I agree with Chris Hackett saying I think there should be a board member, a select board member in attendance. I know we can't force anybody, but I would first, and I don't see why inviting them to any of the meetings. I mean, I think already we've kind of parsed out what our mission is. We just have to make it a little more formal. And I think our challenge is going to be convincing even the select board and the people in town what it means, what economic development means. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to build a big building and bring in a new business. And to think regionally, there's been an issue. So there's two things that I would like to start with, is just trying to, and I need to be educated too, educate people on what that even really means. Because we've had a serious challenge at town meetings getting funding for CEVIDs and talking about this type of thing, because there's this sense that we have walls around Westminster. We need to just take care of the people and the businesses in Westminster, and we need to break that down, and then they might understand what it is that we're trying to do. So there's some educational pieces to it that I think having them just attend a meeting to actually hear us parse out what our mission statement is would be helpful. Like hearing from Chris tonight, these are his thoughts on why I'm on this, and this is what I want to see happen. I don't think there's anybody on our select board or even in town that would disagree with that. We all want that.
I think everybody wants it, I think, and sharing with the folks here. When I was working through this process, a lot of times call back to the board for information. And honestly, for the first time, I thought we had an open conversation about where we are as a community from board members, as far as what's happened in the past, where we maybe need to go, and the thought that, you know, this might help us make decisions. And I did say, yeah, the board, you guys are, the select board is the ultimate say. We will present them with everything we want to do, but they are our elected officials. And so, yeah, I'll definitely make sure we have, or I'll help them understand, hopefully, that we'd like them here. You know, I didn't.
Do we want to have one more meeting and really hash out exactly what we want?
So what I have to do per the select board's request Wednesday, I have to present to them tonight's meeting.
Okay.
And so it's a kind of a procedural flow for them. I will present to them our discussion. I will present to them the changes that I said we'd have the chair, but we're going to change that. Honestly, don't know what changes if they're going to want to revote, because they voted to establish it this way. So they could say, we could find ourselves back to square one. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying there could be the possibility. So, but I'm happy to take it back across the street and just see.
John, I'm sorry, I don't understand that, because, you know, this is the first meeting we're having here. So, you know, if they set it up one way and then we go back to them and say, you know, we have some suggested changes, I guess they can say no, but I struggle to understand why they would say no.
I went through quite a bit trying to get this where we are. And in the last meeting, when they took their vote, it was very clear to me on the structure and how we were going to operate. And I assured them we'd operate in the parameters of open meeting and the structure that they identified. You'd have a chair and these would be the people sitting there. And I said, yes, that'll be fine. I don't think they will. I'm just putting it out there. You never know. You never know. But I'll just bring it back across and present it that we're going to change the verbiage from the chair of these boards to the board, a board member in general.
I think they'll be okay.
No, going,
I think they will.
yeah, I would think so.
I always like to put it out there just so everybody's aware in case it does happen. That's all.
Yeah.
So.
Going back to the comment on, you know, thinking regionally, Sarah's going to kill me because I'll probably put her on the spot a little bit here, but, you know, if we do have another meeting, you know, we at BDCC have a plethora of data that talks about, you know, sort of the regional impact and don't quote me on the percentage of people that live in Westminster that work outside of Westminster, but it's the majority of people. So, you know, I think that we can come up with some good data that can tell a story, to think more regionally, act more regionally. And, you know, I would have wanted my kids to stay here as well, but they chose not to do that. The reality is that, you know, we will have people that move into Westminster, but the majority of them are going to work outside of Westminster unless they're remote workers. But that's just the way it's going to work, because we are not a type of town that's going to attract a business with 500 employees. They're not going to move here. We may attract sole proprietors or small businesses, but I think we need to be realistic and approach it that way. So, you know, I'm happy to bring back to this committee some data. I have some people that can help me to do that, you know, so that we can sort of present a case, if you will.
Well, Bobby, it's funny you say that, or maybe Sarah put you on the spot. Why, I mean, we want to open this up to Westminster, the boards, but why can't we also include in this group BDCC, BFADC? Again, thinking regionally. It's important. I think BDCCs as the regional development corp should have not as much a seat here, but an open, let's say an open seat.
Yeah, so so BDCC's always had, matter of fact, Sue Harlow actually said reach out to them. So what we did, they will. As far as for the structure of this, we're gonna get established, and what those will be is the interest groups.
The
but they-
town of Westminster knows that they may be asked to.
Oh, BDCC has been on the, 7th have been on the dot, yeah, they've been on there, absolutely, yep, I
Perfect.
think,
Perfect.
yeah, so yeah, definitely that was forecasted up front, so I feel that I'm hoping that that's
Good sign.
implementation. And for us tonight was just to kind of establish that we have people interested, we can establish a quorum based upon the 7-member. It honestly started out as 5 and went to 7 because people were talking and I was like, okay, oh yeah, so.
Well, I just, one little comment, excuse me. The, Bellows Falls has done a great job, you know, and I don't want you all to think that I'm looking for some huge industrial park, but Bellows Falls has done a great job of taking what was an old movie theater and putting, you know, it's out of the way, it's up next to the highway, and they do have buildings, you know, they do have companies that are making products and doing a great job, paying their employees well. I don't know why we are, I don't want to start off thinking that, I'm sorry, nothing against what Bobby said, but I mean, why couldn't Westminster have a business? There's plenty of property. We're right on the highway. I mean, how did, you know, if we worked with outside communities, let's say to Rockingham, how did you guys attain these businesses? How did you, you know?
It's a great point, Chris, but you know, that's a point of collaboration, and that's where the Development Review Board has to come in, the Planning Commission. Is that what Westminster wants? If it is, fantastic.
Right.
But you got to start thinking, what does that really mean? Well, is your infrastructure there to support that?
Right. I've
Water,
heard people
sewer.
talking about running water and sewer from town.
Does DRB, do they want that?
Right.
Well, that's why we're here to bring the collaborative effort
Right.
of that. So to Cynthia's point, or Bobby's point, is that that's where the town has to understand what we're here for.
Right.
And this is my pet peeve, and I've said this to a few people, and I think I've made them mad, but you know, and Cynthia, help me out as a former town manager John Putney, and you know, accounting here in deep with it, but you know, towns think bottom line more than top line, tend to. And I think we can be that top line group. Not as much driving up tax base, that's not what I'm talking about for the residents here today, but driving growth, driving people, driving the economy, hopefully helping that top line. So I don't have to worry about this bottom line, which I think is a tough factor that they're looking at year in and year out. So that's where we're trying to help, the tax base.
Yep, no, I concur.
Yeah, I mean, I just to Chris Potter's, I don't want it to sound like I'm not interested in exploring businesses moving here. I think it's a challenge because of the infrastructure, but is it impossible? No, they put things everywhere. Who knows what we could do? I think that's why it's important to have the discussion alongside of what we're doing with the ARPA committee, because there's a lot of money out there right now. And just so this committee knows that that committee will be holding a public meeting after town meeting to discuss this type of stuff. Like, what do you, if you could just put an idea on the wall of what you would like to see in Westminster, what do you think will help with the growth of this community? No matter how outrageous it sounds, let's stick it on the wall and see what we can do, if we can do it. So I think what I'm excited about is it seems like there's a really I don't want to say good people. I mean, lots of people are good, but there's a really good group of people. It feels like we have some momentum right now. So I don't want you to think, Chris, that I'm not interested in exploring that, because yeah, there's potential. It's just not
I look at,
probably.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the industrial park that we have, apparently, I don't even know, I haven't been up there. All I ever hear is it's covered in solar. I don't know that that's true or not, but
It is.
there's room for it. But we also have to build the other stuff around that makes a business want to come here, and then people want to work there and places for them to live. So there's all that too. So it's a lot, but it's not impossible.
I just want to also remind people that Westminster has some of the best agricultural land in New England. The soil in some of the places is really outstanding. And farming is something we don't want to lose because we all are going to need to eat. And we want to be able to really support the existing farms and to enhance that agricultural aspect of our community. Just putting that out there.
I'd like to speak to that also. My son Jacob, excuse me, wanted to be a farmer, and we built a farm. We were milking 25 Jersey cows, and the unfortunate fact of the matter is that the so-called assistance that you can get through a lot of these programs for agriculture and farming all depends on if you want to focus your farming style on what their idea of farming is. We milked cows for a year or so, basically got nowhere, no help, no suggestions, and I called about everybody that you could call. So I want to be a farmer, to be honest with you. I don't want to see one decent piece of land developed. But there are places where it can happen, I think. And the reality of the farming is, especially dairy farming, and I was too stubborn to see this myself, actually, because we tried and tried and tried for years and spent a lot of money. But unfortunately, it's been railroaded into, if you don't milk 1,000 cows, you don't milk any cows. So there's a lot of roadblocks, but I'm kind of stubborn and I just fight them all the way. So although I was not able to become a farmer as I had hoped, and my son. But anyways, and again, I know I said something about a building with 500 people. I'm just trying to be realistic in the fact that if we don't provide jobs, no matter what type of jobs, that can pay people a livable wage, then we're not going to develop any future. I mean, it's just going to continue to be the same. So whether
in addition to jobs, we actually have to have housing too. People.
Sure. Absolutely. On the zoning board, the DRB, I mean, people come in and if they want to build a house, the planning commission has done a good job of setting up a very reasonable, very reasonable rules and regulations for people to build houses and to make it a livable community. So we appreciate that from the DRB, what the planning commission does. And so again, like John had mentioned, I think that is an excellent idea as far as having us all sort of involved. I actually just jotted a few things down. I also thought maybe, if we went to the school and, said, do you have a couple of children here that might be interested in coming and, listening in and just like, what do they see for a future? What is their idea of, can I stay in Westminster? What would I need to be here? And of course, everybody has different levels of what they need. But I think the more people, economics, basically everybody's stuck dealing with economics. And if we can make it a beautiful community I know I'm sort of describing utopia here, and it's probably unrealistic, but I would like to, again, if people want to move here and live the good life, they got to have jobs, And I'm willing to sit here and try to figure out what we can, to try to make things a little bit better. So I am open to a lot of different options, actually.
I think we're all agreeing about our feelings and where this can really help move our communities forward. And so I'll take back the feedback to the select board on the minor change. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I always present things, and I feel we have enough interest for the board to start getting traction. And then I would like maybe set our next meeting, which we're going to do under D, but I'd like to see if everyone would like to give us a meeting in between before we invite the select board. Invite them over to give us a chance to get our statement kind of made up. What is everybody's thoughts on a timeline on that?
My thoughts are, you guys decide. Let me know when to be there. I mean, I know that I give us a month, or we want to do it in a couple weeks, or it doesn't matter to me.
When's the next ARPA meeting?
Oh, you would ask that question.
I know, sorry.
What did we decide?
It's probably in the meeting minutes.
I want to say it is in there. Do you have them right there?
I'm getting there, yeah. February 22nd.
Yeah.
Okay, 22nd.
That's a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday, yeah. So do you folks want to do it before or after that one?
It doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter.
I was thinking February the 14th. It's a Monday, as we are today.
Oh, my husband might have major plans for
Valentine's Day.
That's also the regular
Make sure he doesn't forget.
Okay.
What was that? That's your regular meeting for Planning Commission?
It's on the second Tuesday of the month.
Okay, the 5th, so you're on.
That would be the 8th.
Okay.
No, it's the 14th.
That's a Monday.
February 14th is a
Second
Monday.
Monday. It's a Monday. It's on the 14th
okay.
next month. I know that.
Okay. Okay.
It's the second Monday of the month.
So planning's on the 14th. Okay. We could do the 16th, which is a Wednesday, which would be in between the select board meetings. Does that
That's
work?
fine with me.
Does that work for
That
everyone?
works for me if it's at 6 o'clock. I can't do before 6 that day.
That was my next question. Thank you. I think that was Bobby. 6 o'clock. So what I'm trying to do is set up a static meeting time, and that way everybody can plan everything else they have going on. So as far as the purpose and objective statement, we can start putting together a draft. And so how we've kind of done it, we've discussed elements of it, but we've actually collaborated and then brought it back to the next board meeting for everybody to take up. We're kind of a little bit new, so we have to establish a full structure at the next meeting. So that will let us set up the chairs and vice chairs, and then whoever the chair is can take the meeting, and then we can go from there. But yeah.
Is it possible that we do some type of shared document that we could put our ideas down on a mission statement that way? So I know I'm on the Parks Place board, and we're working on our mission statement, and we've been just sharing, we have a shared drive that we share ideas of different words and different things that we want to have said in our mission statement. And that's how we've kind of collaborated on it. That way, I don't know, it's up to
You're suggesting a Google Doc?
something
Doc.
like that. Yeah.
I see the value there. My only thing is, that's come up quite frequently now with everything is we're not open, transparent, you know, it's conceived as we're collaborating, and so.
We're having a meeting without a meeting.
That came up last week, so I don't, forgive
Hey,
me.
that's fine. I understand that. Yeah.
Always shy. And so I think what we can, I think we have enough with what I presented to the select board and what you folks saw. You gave some feedback. I think we can start putting things together, and then we'll bring it to the next meeting. Would that work? And then we'll put that on the agenda to discuss, but before that will be the structure. That's what I'm really trying to get is the structure set up for the select board to approve the people, if you will. So I think we're there, and then we can just start working on that.
Yeah. And if we just keep the mission statement very simple.
Yeah. You know what, I'm not gonna, the experts, Bobby and Sarah and Cynthia and you know, all you folks that work in that, like you said, Bobby, you guys have a lot of information. So our purpose and objective statements at Wyndham Regional are literally the one I just presented as a chair was 2 pages. That's it. It's very
2
detailed.
pages, that's long.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Ennisburg, as Sarah sent us some links. I think Sarah did. Ennisburg, it's like 2 sentences. To serve foremost in the interests of the town of Ennisburg and the village of Ennisburg Falls, municipalities and associated communities. The fundamental purpose is to enhance the quality of life for all of Ennisburg by developing and executing initiatives aimed at strengthening the economy. That's their mission statement. 2 sentences.
I like Chris's and Chris's. We are going to create a community that our kids want to live in the future and work regionally. I know it has to be better than that, but those were the 2 things that have stuck with me throughout.
You know, that all the jobs have livable economies, and that we have places for people to live you know, that they can afford to live in.
But that one that you just read is about what I'm thinking, that it, like that length of mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we don't have that,
I
you
agree.
lose.
Short and sweet.
Sometimes too much is too much.
Yeah. I read the first 4 sentences of stuff.
So, I mean, I'm certainly not an expert on open meeting law, so correct me if I'm wrong. So can't somebody just kind of draft something and circulate it, and then we just doctor it up a little bit and we can vote on it at the next meeting? Are we not allowed to do that?
Nope.
Yeah, we can do that.
No, it's actually, I have it right. I did print it off for the meeting. I always carry it in every packet because as a chair, I have to read certain things, and I'm not the chair here. This is our kickoff meeting for the record. I'm just the presenter. But we can't do that. We really.
Well, I don't think we can talk back and forth, but if somebody drafts it and sends it to you and says, put this in for the next, if I draft one and I send it to, well, I'm assuming you're going to organize the next meeting.
Yes, I will.
So if I draft what I think it might look like, and Bobby drafts something, as long as we're not talking about it with each other in an email and we send it to you and say, hey, can you present this as my idea next time?
Here's what I think would be okay. Everybody put together a couple sentences of what you want to see or whatever, like Chris, what you said.
Mhm.
Bobby, you have something. Cynthia, Planning Commission. Sarah, if you have any feedback for us that you want to send, that's great. Do that. What I'm going to do is I will compile it in a document and I'll put everybody's name next to that.
Yeah.
For the next meeting, I will send it out to have on the agenda. Will that be acceptable?
Yeah.
To everybody? And then once we establish the formal committee structure after I talk with them on Wednesday, we'll be good.
Yeah.
We'll be good. we'll be good. But yeah, no,
Thanks, Sarah, for sending that.
okay. So we have
Welcome.
the next discussion objectives. We're gonna set that. We kind of moved on to 5D. 6, other business. Is there anything else that anybody would like to discuss or would like me to bring back to the select board on Wednesday? Seeing nothing, I will move on. Date of next meeting we set that for the 16th at 6 PM of February 2022.
The Wednesday night.
Wednesday, thank you for the correction, Wednesday. One thing I wanted to put out there, I don't know if everybody's had a chance to see the governor's new ruling on remote meetings. We have
I'm sorry, on the what?
remote meetings. The governor signed S222. And what it does now, it allows towns, municipalities, boards, commissions, etc., to be 100% remote, which means we do not have to identify a physical location or be here at the physical location. I kept this one the way it is because we haven't had our first meeting. So I want everybody to be aware of that. If anybody feels they want to take that up, we can vote on that after the structure of the next meeting if we want to be 100% remote and not be in an identified location. So just putting that out there under other business.
How does that work if you're opening it up to the public?
We have to have, electronic means.
Okay.
And participation.
Is there a recording secretary? Somebody taking notes? I mean, I see that it's being recorded on Zoom and that's going to have to get kept, but is there actually, will there be minutes?
There will be minutes, correct. I've been taking notes. This has been archived, so I'm going to try and get the draft minutes out. We have 5 days from the meeting, 5 business days. It's been extended to 10 in case we need that extra time. But I will get a draft copy out. Minutes are a draft copy. It may not have everything, and there may be some things I don't capture, so please, if you have something, we make adjustments. And then when we establish it, the chair, normally what I do is I will go back to the meeting's acceptance. If someone has something, I will go ahead and revert back and we'll make the adjustments and changes. So again, they will be present, and we will ask if someone wants to do that. Now, I did see, you brought a valid topic up there. The Planning Commission has an ad in the paper looking for someone to do recording of meeting minutes. Am I correct in that?
We did have an ad, and maybe it's still running, I don't know, but we have hired somebody to do it, and she's excellent.
So I don't know if there's an opportunity to, I don't know if this is what they do for a profession. But
You're looking for the possibility of another person. I can ask her, or I can give you her email and you can ask her. And there was one other person who did inquire about it. I may be able to find that email and I could forward that to you.
Okay.
And you could ask her if she's interested in. But are there funds to pay them? I mean, they get a stipend to do that.
Do you have a general stipend ballpark, like what the Planning Commission is paying to have someone do meeting minutes?
$70 a meeting. A month.
A month.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's once a month that they do. They don't record the meetings in between.
Okay. No, that's fine. And that's something that I can bring back across in my request, I guess, to see. Meeting minutes are very important, as we all know.
Yeah, and the part of it is that my understanding is, as far as the Planning Commission is concerned, we weren't able to have somebody on the Planning Commission take the minutes. It had to be another person.
Correct. So the separations are, you have the chair, the vice chair, the clerk, and whoever's running the meeting, like the chair, they can't take the meeting minutes, or the board. So I agree with that. Like at Wyndham Regional, the full-time staffers for us, they take our meeting minutes and then they present them to the chairs for review and everybody. So I concur. That's why I was asking. The meeting minutes can get quite cumbersome. So,
Yeah.
I will ask, real quick under other, Madam Chair of the Art Committee, is there any funding we can get for this?
Well, that's a whole nother topic of discussion, this ARPA money.
I know, and I know that we are doing some cleaning services for the fire department, when they have meetings over there. So yeah, I think these are all creeping in on us as conversations that we probably should have sooner than later. But I will see what I need to do for that. For the record, hope I don't have to pay any more money out of my personal account to do public meetings, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but that's up to you, John.
Well, it had to be public and I had to make it happen, so.
I know.
So with that being said, we have the date of the next meeting. Because we're not official, I still will entertain a motion, if everybody would like, if we've included the business for this evening, to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made, and I will need a second.
I guess I made the motion, so.
Yes.
I'll second.
Thank you, ma'am. Second. So it is concluded at 7:32 to adjourn. Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I do appreciate it.